Today's video is not sponsored by Starbucks. However, it is powered by Starbucks. Dion runs on coffee. Today is August 12th, 2022, and I have some exciting things that I want to share with you today on this episode of the AccounTalk cast. The reason why I chose this topic today is because, oh man, there's so many headlines, and I think that people don't see the big picture in these headlines. Specifically, I'm talking about the IRS hiring and having all this budget for all these people. Now, if you would have actually been on the IRS website before reading these headlines that you're seeing, you would know that the IRS actually released a strategic plan, essentially their roadmap with their goals and objectives, and essentially how they plan to navigate for the next 4 years from 2022 to 2026. So this video, while some items may change, I probably would say that this is going to be relevant for the next 4 or 5 years. Now let's jump right into it. So if you go to the IRS.gov, you can actually find not only this short overview that I have printed today, but you can also find the long PDF in which I have right here. It's about 26 pages. Again, it isn't anything too complex, but it is a good read if you're a nerd like me. Now, there's 4 areas that essentially the IRS is looking to work on, right? But first off, let's talk about what their mission is. So their mission, and this is publication 3744-C. It was revised July 2022, catalog number 71458C, Department of the Treasury, Internal Revenue Service. Again, you can find that at irs.gov. Now, their mission is to provide America's taxpayers top quality service by helping them understand and meet tax responsibilities and enforce the law with integrity and fairness to all. So many people say, well, Jeff Bezos isn't paying any taxes. Why should I? And that's the issue. People need to understand. First off, I cannot tell you how Jeff Bezos paid no taxes. Reason being is because I have not seen his tax return. There's a bunch of different tax credits and deductions that can help you get to that point. However, everyone's situation is unique. Everyone's revenue is going to be unique to their business. Their revenue model is unique to their business. Their expenses and deductions are unique to their business. Some people might have a high profit margin. Some others might have a low profit margin. Some might be in e-commerce. Some might be in retail. We do not know everyone's situation, so we cannot say that there's a one-size-fits-all tax plan. Now, the 4 areas that the IRS essentially has addressed in their strategic roadmap is service, enforcement, transformation, and people. Now, let's talk about what they've outlined in service. So what they're saying is they want to provide quality and accessible services to enhance the taxpayer experience. Now, about a year or 2 ago, I had referenced that if you needed to go find something on the IRS website specifically pertaining to your account, it wasn't so simple for the everyday person. Now, since then, I have seen, some sweet updates to the platform, because I was wondering, with this budget that the IRS might have, they can't release a modern website with a client portal? I think I could do it, and I'm not even a developer. Now, I think that they're already making strides towards that. They're trying to deliver secure and customized services to meet taxpayer needs, identify and address the needs of underserved and multilingual communities to improve their ability to participate in the tax system, provide a proactive outreach and education to improve taxpayer understanding of their rights, responsibilities, and obligations, and of course, the most important, or actually these are all equally important, but one of the ones I think is a huge topic, especially going into the Web3 age, is safeguard taxpayer data and privacy and protect the IRS against internal and external threats. That's a big one, right? I mean, you have to understand that these agents are only workers. They may not be working for the IRS their entire lives. You want to make sure that if you're giving an IRS agent your personal confidential information, that they are treating that with the utmost respect and safeguarding that information. Your privacy is number one. Now let's move on to enforcement. Enforce the tax law fairly and efficiently to increase voluntary compliance and narrow the tax gap. They have three, objectives under this. It's to improve operations to effectively and efficiently identify and address noncompliance, enhance enforcement efforts to collect unpaid taxes in a fair and impartial manner, proactively identify current and emerging fraud schemes and other threats using real-time intelligence and analytics. I'm hoping that with this real-time intelligence and analytics, essentially to prevent frauds and possibly other threats, that the IRS is going to, I'll use one specific example. I'm hoping that they will be able to easily catch people who are lying about their taxes, who essentially are claiming false credits. Let's now go ahead and move on to people. And, what the IRS says is they want to foster an inclusive, diverse, and well-equipped workforce to strengthen relationships with our external partners. First off, I feel like, in a way, I am an external partner. I take the IRS tax law and I interpret it to the best of my ability, and I essentially try to translate that to my clients. When I'm doing the proactive work, which might be bookkeeping and tax planning, to then actually doing the compliance work and tax preparation and ensuring that that bookkeeping is audit proof. Well, they have three things here. They want to recruit, hire, and retain a workforce that reflects the communities we serve to meet current and future needs. I'm going to pause here because I think that's a very important one. Within the past few months, I've had a few clients that have been trying to contact the IRS for various reasons. They cannot get a hold of the IRS. The reason is because they don't have the staffing to meet it. If you filed a paper return, your return was not getting processed in a timely manner. They need to fix that. And of course, yes, we do want to have returns e-filed, which is a preference from the IRS, which is my preference, which should be your preference. However, sometimes things happen and returns need to get mailed in. In those situations, they need to be handled in a time-sensitive manner, meaning that it can't go a year, 2 years until that return gets processed, and then we can't hear headlines that the IRS has discarded X amount of tax returns, right? That leaves taxpayers very nervous because they're wondering, well, was my tax return one of those? Mine hasn't been processed yet. Do I need to refile? Is it still being processed? What should happen? Well, we can't even get a hold of the IRS. So I'm hoping that we can essentially move on from this and we can get quick responses, or at least a direction for us to go in. They talk about empowering our workforce with the proper training, tools, and processes to improve the employee experience and better serve taxpayers. This is so crucial. These tax agents, will say, or people that are working for the IRS, directly employed by the IRS, they are not tax professionals, or at least I don't think they are. Some of them may just work in that industry. They're in customer service. They're here to serve the taxpayers and also essentially try and enforce compliance. Now, I think this is going to be important for, if a taxpayer does have a specific tax law question, they should be able to call the IRS and say, hey, I have this question. They shouldn't then be told to go read some 500-page document. They should at least get a little clearer guidance on how they should proceed, right? Now, I'm saying I understand that, some of it could be interpreted as tax law, but we have all these people on the internet saying, hey, not financial advice. And so we could do a similar thing saying, this is not taxpayer advice. However, this is what it reads, and This is what we're told, how to navigate these scenarios. If you need further information, you can seek a tax professional who might be able to interpret this a little further and provide a little bit more guidance. Last but not least, on the people, they want to strengthen, expand, and effectively utilize their network of trusted partners to better serve taxpayers and improve compliance. Let me tell you, if I was getting some type of help, communication, or maybe, I'm not looking for a monetary incentive, but essentially, if I was getting some type of assistance from the IRS, I, as a tax professional, and probably on behalf of the rest of my colleagues that are tax professionals, would appreciate the ability to have just more utilities, right? We need to be able to serve these professionals, these taxpayers, because truthfully, taxpayers are not going to get it done. And there's way too many taxpayers to essentially keep up with the demand. How many taxpayers are there? And let's think of this as the supply of tax professionals. There's no way that we're going to serve them all, especially those people who think they know it all and they're going to go ahead and file their taxes on their own. They need a little bit more guidance. Last but not least, let's talk about transformation. And again, as I've mentioned a few of these topics, they all kind of intertwine. I talked about that new portal, making things easier. Now we're moving on to transformation, in which they're looking to reorganize their operational structure to provide an exceptional taxpayer experience by increasing collaboration and maximizing efficiencies. They want to modernize technology infrastructure and develop secure and sustainable solutions to improve tax administration. They want to increase digitalization to streamline processes, improve access to digital data, and lessen our environmental impact. Again, having to mail in a return not only means that someone has to go to the post office or USPS to drop these forms off, they have to then wait for it to be processed by someone who, again, if that person does not process it or they misplace it, that could be lost forever. And so we need easier ways to be able to e-file. And they want to improve data management and application of analytical capabilities to drive evidence-based decisions. What that means is that the IRS should be able to easily provide data to whoever it might be, assuming that they need that information. For example, let's say you're a new home buyer and you're going to buy a home, and guess what? They need your previous 2 years tax returns, right? Which is a normal thing. This data is so hard to get. Now, assuming that your most recent tax return hasn't even been processed yet, you have to wait for that to be processed, which can delay that whole process on its own, right? If you're looking to get a home, you understand how crucial it is to act swiftly. Rates might be increasing, the house might go off the market, the next buyer might come in and get it, right? If someone offers a better offer. So it's going to be important for them to be paying attention to this. Long story short, I feel like the IRS is trying to improve their service so that they can meet the needs and really deliver on what they stand for. They're looking to provide more enforcement, which is not only just for one person or the other person, but really to provide a fair treatment of all taxpayers across the board, whether you're making $1 a year or you're making $1 million a year. They're also looking, I think they're really focusing on their people. And with that, I don't think their focus is just going to be on internal people. I also think it's going to be on their partners, CPAs, EAs, tax attorneys, annual filing season program, and even just tax professionals that are uncredentialed. I think it's going to be ever more important for them to build that network and really get in tune with their community. It's going to be so important going forward that the IRS really doesn't lose sight of their community, but rather continues to build on that community. And honestly, we shouldn't hear that only time you'll see the IRS is knocking at your door. No, let's have some events where IRS agents are coming to and they're providing education, which actually leads us then into transformation, redesigning and maximizing all the processes. I like the way the website is going. I think they're going to continue to update that. Again, we shouldn't get scared of headlines. Really, what this is doing is trying to ensure that our economy can continue to scale. I would love to maybe even see, how they plan to use these funds in a, a taxpayer friendly way. Again, it shouldn't be that, hey, you have to read this 500-page document to understand what the IRS is trying to say. There should be ways that the IRS can easily relay this information to taxpayers in terms that they understand. It's important that the taxpayer and individuals understand, and even businesses understand what's going on. I can't explain to you how many times just in this past week I had to explain the difference between payroll tax, income tax, sales tax, and property tax. It's crazy. Now, each agency kind of handles a different aspect of it, but it's important for everyone to know the difference between these all. What I see with this, right, and with the IRS hiring these people and having this amount of budget, truthfully, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and that's ensuring that your foundation, right, your support system is A1, is audit proof, then you should have no worries going forward. With that being said, though, to ensure that you don't end up overpaying or underpaying in taxes, it's going to be important to periodically meet with a tax professional. So you have your bookkeeping done, you have reliable reports being generated that can then tell you essentially maybe how much taxes you're going to owe, what your liability might be, what your profit is. Not only will that allow you to make strategic business decisions or even personal decisions, but that will also allow you to understand what your tax liability might be come tax time. Because we want to avoid surprises. When people are unsure, they do questionable things. Let's take the doubt out of it, and let's be sure of what we're doing. Let's set up our bookkeeping, and let's ensure that we have a strong foundation that's producing reliable reports that allow us to make strategic decisions on the fly. Now, again, I don't think that the IRS released this strategic roadmap to scare anyone, but I think it's rather to empower us and to build back the trust in the IRS. It's not fair that you might be making a certain amount of money and someone making more than you is paying less taxes. If that is the case, maybe they just are more strategic about their tax planning. Well, let's make those same tax strategies available to the everyday taxpayer. Well, again, if there's anything you took from this, I hope that it's, do your bookkeeping. Don't be afraid of the IRS. Consult with a tax professional as you see fit. And all in all, ensure that you remain compliant. Thank you for your time and watching another episode of the AccounTalk cast. I can't wait to show you more. See you on the next one.